Hello, welcome pen friends. Today I want to come on and review a notebook. This is the Pineider Milano. It's a lined notebook. It's got ivory paper and it's just wonderful. I've been writing on it for 3.5 months. I've almost filled up the notebook. This was a gift from pen friend MS, and I like to review notebooks. I really do. I don't very often slow down enough to do that, but when I remember to leave a page or two at the end so I can actually write on it and show you, then I like to do that. So this has got a leather cover, and it's got a lot of features actually, but let's look here. It's on the back. I saved these. This was folded and put in the back little pocket. And I'll show you that in a minute. But it's 192 pages. It's an A5 size, so it compares, well, we've got a lot of comparisons next to me here that we'll look at. Compares really well to like my bullet journal, except it's thinner, for instance. And then it's 80 GSM watermarked laid ivory paper, acid-free. Like I said, this one's ivory, but I've got one that I'm going to open today that has the white paper, so we'll be able to kind of compare those. Have my little handy opener, I hope. Yeah, my little seam ripper right here. But so it's made in Italy, and I couldn't find these very many places, but we'll talk about that too, because I've got my little review notes so that I'll remember to go over all the little things that I wanted to be sure and talk about. But this is held up and looks brand new. Like it, I've not been all that careful with it. I've carried it all over the place, and it just holds up super well. It's got a textured leather cover. Let's take this off so we can actually look at it a little bit more. I did have a sticker on it. I ended up putting the sticker in here because it started to come up, and it was just kind of lifting off of the front. So I didn't like that. It bothered me for some reason, so I took it off and stuck it inside. Let's see. I know I'm probably going to go over things 2 or 3 times, but let's look at it first before we get out comparisons. And also I do have the review notes, like the report card, because that's the only way I can stay on track. But I put my new passport, little tiny picture, I just cut it out of the little thing from CVS. But it's a real nice paper here in the front. I can't really show what I write because I write all kinds of weird things, but it's got a 6mm line, so it's a little bit narrower than some that I've written with, but I really like it. And back here we can look, because here's the pocket in the back, which I really like. I see how simple that is. It's actually like a pocket that's sort of glued right on. I mean, you could do that with anything. Kind of gives me a little bit of a pattern I think I'm going to use for a couple of my little notebooks that don't have that. It does have a bookmark, which is handy. I don't always use the bookmark, but I don't cut them. I still keep it in case I want to go back and kind of place the bookmark. It even has a poem in the back. And here is my pen test page. So the first thing I realized was it doesn't bleed through. It's super good. The paper is, I would not call it heavyweight. I would just call it a really nice weight paper. And it's a little bit more textured than I'm used to, but that is because I'm used to more Tomoe River paper, almost not exclusively, but so much. And it's not what I'd call toothy, but it is a little bit textured, just a little bit. And maybe that's what that word inlaid means. This was kind of a new experience for me, like way outside of the notebooks I had tried so far. So that's also been kind of exciting. Yeah, it says watermarked laid ivory paper. It kind of reminds me of super good stationery, you know. That's what it reminds me of. So I did like broad nibs. I had shimmer ink here was the first one, and a couple broad nibs. Nothing bled through. You get some ghosting, so you can see that probably from there even. But just some like show back, but nothing like Tomoe River paper. Just it's there. It doesn't bother me at all though. I've never been bothered by that. So, but I wanted to show you. And then this was written with my TWSBI Eco with a medium nib. I seem to really like medium nibs, and I think that's because of the line width being just a little narrower than what I normally write with on the larger notebooks. But with a medium nib, I've been just the right, you know, it's been just the right comfort size for my handwriting. My TWSBI Eco mediums mainly, but I've written with just about everything in these. Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of things written here, but we're going to go over that on the report card, so, but I'm sure you can see it here. But let's do a couple comparisons so we can kind of place it among other notebooks. Let's see, and maybe before we do that, it is about a ½ inch thick, and it's got that beautiful, oh gosh, I know they call that something. And I wonder if they did it on here or not. Oh, okay, the gold something. Anyway, it's really quite pretty all along. And of course, you could tell that that's been used because I've been, you know, writing and so forth, and gluing things in. But as far as the cover is concerned, it just looks as new as the day that I got it out of the package. So hopefully I've showed you everything. But first I wanted to just show you how it compared to my Leuchtturm bullet journal in size. The Leuchtturm's just a little bit thicker, but it really is very, very similar. Very similar. Just a tad difference in like just a tiny bit higher. And that could just be this part of the cover, you know, because this cover on the Leuchtturm is a little bit flusher, and this one sort of protects the, you know, it hangs just a little bit over the top edge there. So we're talking a difference between maybe ½ inch, almost 3/4, I think. Let's see, I don't have a ruler here, but and it is lighter by quite a bit because this is a hardcover. So that's one of the things I really liked about this was the lightweightness of it. It doesn't have a band, like this one has a band to close it, but I didn't miss that. I didn't feel like I needed it with this. In fact, it just, half the time I keep these, my bullet journal is just in the back, so it stays out of my way. So that's how it compares size-wise to the Leuchtturm. I'm using that for a totally different purpose, though. This I'm using for a daily long-form journaling, just coming in and writing my thoughts and or what the day was about and everything. Now, as far as paper, the only other notebook I've ever used that comes kind of close to this, really, well, there are two. One is this one, and this was also a notebook made in Italy, and it's got really nice paper. Like, it's not inlaid. It's maybe slightly smoother, but it is just fantastic paper. And in fact, I still haven't finished this. I've got like a little bit, I even cut something out there. I've got a little bit left that I might use next week for a little 27 Powers writing challenge. And it's a 4-day thing, something also that I can do on my own time. No pressure or anything, because I couldn't add pressure right now. But this one, I got at Barnes & Noble back in 2016 for, I don't know, maybe $30. But I thought that that was like the sun, moon, and stars back then, because that was so expensive. But it was for a special project. I was doing a special art class locally with an artist friend, and so that's what I got it for. And then the other paper that makes me think of the Pineider Milano paper is really a Midori paper, although this is smooth as well. But there's something about it that just reminds me the feel of the paper. So, and I think what I mean is not the feel with my fingers, but the feel when I'm writing. So that's just something to keep in mind, I guess. And keep in mind also that I'm brand new to this kind of paper. It's very, very special. And so my impressions are just forming. Okay, I said we were going to open the other one that I have, which is, this is actually not a leather cover. It's a vegan option. So this one is the same kind of paper, but white. So it's the 80 GSM watermarked white paper, acid-free. Yeah, oh wow, that's interesting. That's a little bit different. Let's see. They're little, no, it says from Sustainable Forestry, same thing, watermarked. It doesn't say laid ivory, so it just says white paper. Of course, it's different. It's not ivory like this one, it's white. Let's just open it, and then we can compare them, because I think these are good things to know. I was thinking about it, and I thought, you know how sometimes there are giveaways even, and you want to know, well, should I put my name in for that? Well, I would recommend, if you ever had an opportunity to do that, that you would try to win one, because they're super nice. Okay. So let's take this off and take a look at it, and then we can compare the inside. So it looks, oh, it's okay. The paper feels different. Okay, so it's smoother. So that's going to be interesting. I'll have to review this one when I get done with it. But let's open it up and we'll compare the tone of the paper. I'd like to do that. Try to get somewhere in there where it's the same idea. Okay, so the white one here is on the right, and the ivory is on the left. And yeah, right away I feel a little difference. And you see a little difference. Let's see. Still has a watermark there. I don't know if you can see that, because that's pretty hard even for me to see. But it is watermarked. But it doesn't have that texture. I don't know. I'm probably going to get in trouble with the wording like texture, because I know when I was first coming into the hobby, people used words like toothy, and I don't want to use that for this, because the kind of paper that I would call toothy is the kind of paper that was in these currently inked, and there was a definite sort of a really big difference in this paper. Anyway, I've always got my mind up in several different categories at once. But yeah, this is feels different, but it's very much similar as far as the way it's laid out. And it's the white paper with the 6mm line. So I'm really looking forward to trying it to see if the pens react differently to this. I mean, obviously the tone of the paper is different because it's brighter white. It's not ivory, so that'll be different. And everything else looks the same, the little pocket. So, wow, what a luxury to have, you know, two of these. Let's see, I'm going to keep this because I've got a little ways to go in this notebook. Okay, keeping on with comparisons, I think we'll still do a little bit more, not much, but because I feel like this notebook is sort of in its own world in my notebooks. It truly is, other than that other notebook made in Italy, and the paper is for sure. Then you go back into like Tomoe River paper, which these two are, and oh dear. Oh, I surely had, yeah, I had a pen test in this too. This one had a wider, I don't recall, but it looks like about a, oh, let me get a ruler, don't need to guess. Oh, I think that's measuring at 7mm, so it's very close. So it's really not that far off at all. And this was a Good Inkpressions handmade notebook that I got in Barnes & Noble, and it's Tomoe River paper. So it kind of makes me think of it as far as size and everything, but this didn't, this was way too, like, I don't know, stiff, and this is nice and bendy and flexible. I don't know. I really have enjoyed this, and I am actually a hardcover notebook person, so I was really happy that I enjoyed it so much as I have. Okay, and then one other one was the Odyssey notebook. This has 68 GSM Tomoe River paper in it as well. And let's see. Oh yeah, there's my notes for this one. See, it's funny too how I keep amending price-wise, like 7mm, 20. I think these were 29. Yeah, so, and this was whiter than the ivory paper, but it was a wonderful experience as well, so, I don't know. I'm not sure that notebook comparisons, these are almost like every different fruit that we're comparing, because they're just so different, other than the white one that is, you know, the white paper Pineider Milano. Okay, then this was the Graphilo one, which I still haven't had anything that would beat this. This is just so smooth and happens to get along so sweetly with everything that I use and write with. I think I went back in and wrote on my test page some things, and I'm likely to write just about anything, so I don't want to get into that. But yeah, this paper was wonderful too, and this is a little smaller. It runs narrower by about 1 inch, so that was interesting. Okay, well, before we go too far here, let's get right into the report card, because I know that I will forget all the little details if I don't. So, or I may have already covered some of them, but here we go. So this notebook that we're reviewing today is the green. Let's see. Well, it looks pretty dark. I'm hoping you can see that it's green. Milano by Pineider. Made in Italy. Uh-oh, I've got cats fighting. It has the 6mm line, and it's the A5 size with a soft cover. I found that it was out of stock at Pen Chalet, but it gave me hope that they actually had it listed. And then direct from Pineider, they were, Okay, well, I don't know what happened, but Coco and Toby were kind of going after each other in the living room for no reason. Anyway, direct from Pineider, it listed as $70, and then there was a place called Pen Savings. I've never ordered from them, but it appeared to be here in the United States, and it said it was $60. So I would continue shopping that, to see if I could find a better deal, but I always try to include price when I can, and obviously it would fluctuate, go up and down, and we've got shipping concerns as well, to think about. Lots of people don't ever include the price, but it's always part of my sort of like, will I ever buy one of these notebooks kind of thing. And then on the size, the height was 21 centimeters or 8 1/4. And the width was 14.5 centimeters or 5 3/4. And then the width was about 1/2 inch or 1 centimeter. So, and it has the leather cover, the acid-free paper, the pocket. I really like the pocket. You can see I just put stickers back here. And I have some more. I have some Superman stickers that I've been having fun with, so I'll put those in there too. Let's see. Where are we at here? Yeah, it's very unique in my notebook experiences, which I have had experiences that I wouldn't, have otherwise, just because of having the YouTube channel, having people share and send things. But so it's just really interesting and fun, some of the things I've been able to try. And I keep running into that word where I'm not actually sure whether I should be using the word textured. I guess that's what inlaid is, but because when I feel it, I see it more, and I see it on the front part of it. But it's just gorgeous paper. I am used to using broad nibs on Tomoe River paper where the ink sits on top of it, though. And so I'm thinking that anything I might say is highly kind of skewed by that. So I have made a note down below to keep that in mind, because I'm such a devoted broad nib person. Okay, so then we go into what I like, what I don't like. I love the size and weight of this notebook. And I love the paper weight. You can glue on it. You can use a water brush. You can do anything you want with ink. It's wonderful. And then I love that it's lined, because that's my preferred grid for just everyday journaling, for writing, not Dear Diary, but just kind of a free-form writing. I love the back pocket, and I love that it doesn't bleed through. And it's just high quality, the whole notebook, how it's put together and how it feels and holds up to 3.5 months of writing in it and everything like that. So that's on that side. And then on the other side for, cons or don't like, I said some nibs and pens seem dry on it. Okay, but I really am thinking that it's that. I wrote a little asterisk, and I wrote, I'm more used to Tomoe River paper and broad nibs, so this perception may be inaccurate. Yeah, and it's only 3.5 months of writing on it, so where I've got like 8 years of writing on Tomoe River paper. One thing I do appreciate is that the ink dries faster on this paper. It is fantastic. I hardly need to even use the blotter page. I do have one, because I Or I did. Yeah, I have one. I just keep losing them. I always lose them. I always keep one in my notebook because it just helps. You see the little smears that get on it. But I haven't really needed to use it in this notebook because the medium nibs dry almost immediately on it. So that's been fantastic. And then expensive because, you know, for me in my budget, that's expensive, but it is definitely worth the money. There's no question about that. Okay, so I put notes and who might probably like this. Fountain pen lovers looking for a special notebook. And also to note that if you object to leather, that there is that vegan option, which I thought was really good. And this one kind of looks like the other one. It just feels a little bit more softer. I'm not sure it affects how it folds, but just to the touch, it feels a little softer. So that's pretty cool. And then, let's see. Oh, I just noted that I used my TWSBI Eco Medium with Diamine Oxford Blue. And this paper here, I've run out of. It's a 28-pound copy paper from Office Depot. And you know what? The Office Depot right near me went out of business. Closed their doors without even telling me. But so I've got to go further now if I want to go to Office Depot. But we do have another one in town a little further. That's too bad because I used to just run over there to get like an ink cartridge or paper or something, you know. This paper is really awesome. It has no bleed through or anything. It's just fantastic. So I guess that's the review, but I'll switch it around and we'll just chat for a minute. There, okay, so that's my review of the Pineider Milano notebook with the ivory paper and the 6mm line and the leather cover. I just love it. I feel like you can almost see where that heart sticker was, I guess. That darn thing. I wish I hadn't put it there because it started to lift off. It was just something I'd gotten at Walmart, I think, or somewhere. And every time I touched it, the little tip was coming off, you know, the edge of the sticker was like, it was just giving me some kind of problem. So I took it off. So before I flipped the camera, I realized I hadn't weighed the notebook, and I like to do that just for the heck of it. You know, fun fact, way back in the day, a long time ago, I used to be in a little website called Paperback Swap, and we would we would just list our paperbacks for trade, basically, and you'd get credits. When you mailed one out, you'd get a credit, then you could order from anybody that had the book listed. So we used to use that media mail, and back when it was real cheap and everything. So anyway, the Pineider notebook was 11.8 ounces. So it's not a pound. So that's pretty lightweight there. Nice and lightweight. So then I threw on the Leuchtturm bullet journal, and that was 1 pound and 1.8 ounces. Okay, and then the owl turned out to be the heaviest. The brown one, this one here. That's very heavy, 1 pound, 2.3 ounces. So anyway, just for the heck of it, I decided to do that, you know, weighing them. But this is a really fun notebook. And in fact, I'm kind of dreading finishing it because, you know, I only have a few pages left. And then it's like, oh, you know, you just get bonded with a notebook and then it's time to start all over and face a completely blank page. But I haven't fully decided if I'm going to hop straight into the other one or kind of save that one for a little while. The other Pineider, that with the white paper, that would be fun. But there's some more calling my name up on the shelf there too that I haven't tried at all, anything from that particular brand. So I'm really interested in continuing kind of the exploration of unknown to me notebooks. It's fun. It's really fun. I have some old standbys that I kind of always keep on hand, like the $3 ones I used to get over there at the Family Dollar, where they come in like black and blue and just basic colors. You can put a really pretty sticker on the front of them. I have those, and they work with medium fountain pens too. So there's such a drastic difference, of course, in quality of how they're made. But yeah, and I think I had one maybe that came apart and I had to you know, kind of tape it together. So, but the $3 notebook, that's, you know, that's what you're going to get. But this was I just decided to go ahead and put on record my opinions because I didn't actually see much about this notebook, and I thought it would be a good idea to do. And maybe break the ice just a little bit here because I've just been up to my eyeballs in paperwork, so I haven't had the same sort of time to work on the channel or to be doing reviews. But I just love doing paper reviews. So let me know what you think. Have you written with this notebook? And if so, what do you think of it? And where do you get yours? You know, I admit I only did about 15 minutes of quick research on where and what was going on with it. I know that things change all the time as far as, like, say, shipping rates from other countries too. So I know that that comes into the price for us in getting these stationary items like this. But hopefully you got something out of this, or even... Actually, maybe the next notebook review I do will be on the other end of the spectrum, because I really would like to go back and review that little notebook that I got from Family Dollar, and I have a brand new one that we can go into and work into to just try it out. So I'll probably try that. But for now, I just want to say I'll see you in the comments. I hope you're having a great day. And as I film this, it's Friday, so happy weekend if you happen to be watching it shortly after I upload it. But I will see you in the comments, and I'll also see you on the next video. Take care.